Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you very much for your continued support. You know why we celebrate you? Because you're bold, brave, you dare greatly, you do things that are absolutely spectacular. You're making the lives of many and the world a better place to live. That's why we celebrate you on this particular podcast. You don't hear the buzz in the background just because they got us in a room. But we're here on site, Hexagon Live, and it is a collection of problem solvers. And put this on your bucket list because you need to attend this event because you get to meet people like Joe and Stephan. Did I say Stephan right correctly? Yes. All right, Stephan. Elevotec is the company. We're going to be talking about asset management and other things just because they're great guys, so let's get cracking. I screwed up the other intro, so people don't know that, but I do make mistakes, but rarely, because I have Canadian roots like you guys. And Canadian people don't make mistakes. You don't make mistakes. No. See, there it is. A level of confidence coming at me like, no, not even close. All right, Golden Knights, congrats. So I have to just throw that out there.
Absolutely. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Well 13 done. Canadians on the team, so we're cheering for them.
See, confident. Well, definitely Canadians know. There's a video out there that shows a guy coming out of the water. It's a frozen lake coming out of the water, and it's like, this is how Canadians are born. So he's coming out of the water, and then he's on skates, and he skates off with a hockey stick. So you guys are ready. Yep. All right, you guys having a good conference?
Yeah, absolutely. It's we're grateful to Hexagon and having them put on the Hexagon Live. It's a great time here. Pretty amazing at what we've been able to experience with them. And the greatest conversation was the talk about optimism. And that's a great talk because going back, when you talk about the world of asset management, we've been doing it. We've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, it's a reality. And, I think a big part of our evolution to get us where we are today and what Hexagon is showing us is all developed through optimism and the ability to believe and the ability to continue to evolve asset management. When you think back, I come out of a world that was, when I started my experience, our asset management program was a 3.5 by 5 cue card on a piece of equipment. And today we're talking about virtual reality. And I'm grateful that I've been able to grow through the evolution of all of this. And it just continues to be completely outstanding.
Yeah, it is an exciting time, no doubt about it. Stephan, got it. Stephan, give us a little background into who you are.
Well, Scott, I guess, as I was saying before, I go back. I worked 20 years in manufacturing before I got into the sort of the software and the consulting game. So, working with all different types of manufacturers, forging, heavy equipment, furniture, even the food business, but all those industries have in common is they all have assets. They all have to maintain those assets, and so when Joe and I got together and we started Elevotec, we thought, well, let's build on solutions for these different types of manufacturers and public sector people, because really next to the people that companies have, their assets are next important thing. So let's help them look after them properly.
Well, that makes complete sense, and I know that it has evolved over a period of time without a doubt. Joe, give us a little background.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. I've had the ability to work in this space. Came out of school, started with an MRO outfit, which got me connected to a lot of the commodities that we see that actually help our assets in electrical, plumbing, and heating. And then rapidly went to the largest Canadian poultry processor that I'm forever grateful for, that helped me understand right from, the egg to the chicken piece that goes in your frying pan, that entire value stream of being able to engineer it, maintain it, see the growth, the evolution of the products that we consume as humans, the food safety part of it, and that complete evolution really brought into focus for me the importance of asset management. And then subsequently, I was able to, again, another great experience in the pet food industry. I ran the entire operation where, my customers couldn't speak in a language that I could understand, but we needed to put out a product that they consume and love, and that was an international product that we would ship worldwide. And again, there, just in that operation, being able to provide the best possible product for the near and dear pets of our lives was something that really helped me understand a little bit more about asset management and ensuring that we've got the best foot forward in putting those products. So, I look back at those experiences, and the first thing that I thought about is, wow, you know what? I really wish I had somebody that could help me really get my arms around asset management and what I could do for it. And I started to reflect on it, and I call on all of the folks that helped me understand it to get it to where I had it in a world of operations, in a world of in engineering and maintenance. And I thought, man, I could probably go out and help a lot of folks do this. And I tell everybody, and I say this everywhere I go, I got the best job in the world. I get to travel around, meet great people, and I get to play with their assets and get them in a place where they can find some of that comfort that I found when I was in the world.
Stephan, for the listeners, for the ones that are just, can you sort of help us define just briefly asset management?
Well, it's kind of couple different levels. So you've got really the maintaining of the assets, the ability to extend the life of the assets, and then what we end up doing is in the total solution is we try to understand what each of these industries or customers actually need to fulfill their vision for asset management, and we actually help educate the C-suite on why they need to maintain their assets. Because the biggest problem I think the maintenance community has is they have all these great ideas and they get to the C-suite and they all die there. So when we talk about solution management, we're really educating at all levels in the company to put that solution through and get them to where they need to be.
It's always a human equation when it comes to this stuff. I think the technology is the technology, and I think that, but it always gets down to the human element. And you bring up a good point, Stephan, that, C-suites. And there's this necessity to not just educate, but to continuously educate and continuously be part of, Hexagon Live and talking to people and collaborating and finding out the latest and greatest and wonderful stuff that exists out there today to help them succeed, because they need to succeed, So tell us a little bit, Joe, about Elevotec. What outside of the name, where did they're not elevators. So.
Yeah, so we don't build elevators, but we'll certainly help an organization manage those elevators and get the life cycle out of it. Elevotec, one of the primary things that we sat back and looked at is, we know that the world of asset management, and I think we want to say that one of the realities is to help every possible customer with their best foot forward to sustainment. And sustainment's a big part of it, right? It's never ever a perfect space, but it's what we all try to strive for. And we dub something that's pretty important for us, and it's what we call the 3P, and it's people, practice, and products, right? It is a human element. Right, C-suite right down to the frontline user, and recognizing and supporting that. We do know it's practice. At the end of the day, we've got standards, we've got compliances, we've got different things that we need to go into practice. And I think the biggest thing is the product side. We need to know that there's solutions, and isn't always an entirely one encompassing. It could be a conglomerate of that. So we pride ourselves on that. Having said that, I think one of the things then we started to look to is that we use a a motto of the enable, evolve, and elevate. So one of the things we want
Good job. You got all the E's in there. Thank you very much. Well done.
So a lot of times what people have a challenge with is just getting enabled. Well, have no fear. I mean, we do it. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. So let's just get you enabled. Let's just get you started. And through starting, when we start something, guess what? We can evolve something. Nothing's perfect in our world. I tell people every day, we live in a world of perfect imperfections. It's a perfect world of imperfections, right? So now that you're enabled, let's get you to evolve a little bit. Let's get you a little bit more. And as you're doing that, you're going to elevate. You're going to elevate to that place of a world of sustainment, whether that's on a profit and loss or that's in a compliatory world. It's a journey. There's no silver bullet.
Thank you. Because I know that people are looking for silver bullets
All the
out
time.
there. Just
All
like
the time.
yeah. So with that said, Stephan, well, let's sort of, I mean, that sounds great. Joe just sort of nailed it. Home runs. Goal. Let's just use a hockey
Shoots
analogy.
and scores.
Shoots and
I think
scores.
it's a
Slap
hat-trick.
shot, blue line. Oh, it's in.
I think he's got a hat trick already.
Bar
actually.
down.
Hat trick, yeah. We'll just use all the hockey analogies.
Bar down. We
Yeah.
got a bar down.
But then there's typically roadblocks. What are the challenges that you see with organizations?
Well, like I alluded to it earlier about the C-suite education, and in Canada, not so much in the U.S. maybe, but in Canada, the whole process is a little slower because we're more cautious, more conservative at the corporate level on how we actually deal with things. So we've had cases where we've worked to educate the C-suite, and the whole C-suite has changed, and now we've got to re-educate another set of...
Happens all the time.
So it's
all the time.
It's always a constant. But what I think what's encouraging, and this is, I'll shout out to the conference here a little bit. The level of speakers here are just amazing. We just listened to the Chris, he's the president and chairman of the IAM. So
What does the IAM stand for?
International Asset Management
Institute of Asset Management.
Institute.
International.
International Institute. Yeah. Anyhow, so what he's talking about now is there's more focus on the fact that asset management tools and looking after your assets can actually help you with the whole carbon neutral and sustainability questions, because unless you measure what you're doing and control what you're doing, you'll never be able to improve what you're doing. So this has opened up another avenue with all the focus on that for companies to look more at asset management to understand if they're operating.
But it's the hook. It's the hook. It's like
But
beforehand.
you need a hook.
Yeah. And beforehand, it's like, asset management, maintenance, I get it. And there's a lot of churn that exists in all organizations, especially now. And now you're able to sort of anchor the maintenance and reliability and asset management, all of that stuff, because it is being lumped in with sustainability, and it's true.
Yeah, well, I went through that 30 years ago with ERP. Everybody said you had to have enterprise resource planning, right? Nobody had it. It was just coming out, and every company had to have it. There was a big buzz. And then when EAM first started, everybody started to say, we have to manage our assets, but now it's
Here's the reason why.
Yeah.
Here's the purpose. Here's the philanthropic,
Right.
approach to it.
here's the banner you can put up.
But it's true.
Yeah.
But it's true. And it's still, I'll always get down to the business. It makes good business sense. Whatever gets an organization to be diligent about it, fine, go for it. But the reality is that managing your assets and doing that effectively and being engaged and educated and evolving is absolutely, vital.
Well, it all hits the bottom line too, and that's what the C-suite really care about is the bottom line.
That's it.
All this hits the bottom line.
Yeah.
So
I always struggle with the fact that once you start to remove all of the inefficiencies, because that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to take that overall asset, that organization, and make it as efficient as you possibly can by using the tools and techniques and strategies that are necessary to do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But eventually, we're inefficient over here, but then now we're really efficient, and then there's the change in leadership that's saying, wow, that's pretty efficient. Why do we have to spend all that money? And then they go, it's cyclical. But now it's not.
It can have its series of challenges.
So what's an interesting component, and I was having some conversations, is all of the ability to collect data and all of that off of the assets and being able to analyze those assets in a very proactive way, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing more companies being able to embrace that, or do you find the necessity, Joe, that you need to do a decent blocking and tackling first, getting that fundamentals down before you start to venture into the world of digitalization?
Yeah, so we're really seeing an uplift of folks that are trying to do both, and technology's helped us with the gathering side and being able to fetch data. There's a lot of assets today that are what we would dub in the asset management world of being smart, being able to connect those technologies that are absorbing, let's say, the number of hits on a die or the number of gallons that have gone through a pump, or measuring luminosity on a nest of lights that is disinfecting water. When you think about all of that, that just starts to open so much. It just starts to open so much in the process of bigger data, where you now would take an individual, a human, and send out and have some subjectivity, right, in the decision-making process. Well, we're not doing that anymore. We're using some facts, and the facts are the numbers that we're retrieving. And technology has made it a lot easier to connect to these data sources. And Hexagon, they've really demonstrated here. I mean, I've seen some stuff that has been connected, and when I was in the field, I'm thinking, wow, this is what I'm looking for, right? So this whole paradigm or this thought process that, getting data is expensive, or you can't do it, or it's not available, isn't really true, right? I think the reality is starting to recognize that data piece, that's a priority. That drives sustainment, that drives decision-making. Okay, well, where is it? It doesn't matter where it is, because I feel confident that we've got technology to go and fetch it. And now we've even got some of the strength that we see with some of the Hexagon products here, certainly on the asset management side, that's starting to take that data and transitioning it into information where one can make some good, sound decisions and even do, some projections, right?
Yeah, I like that, and I like the projection. I like the simulation capabilities.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, what if I did this? Or what if I tweaked it this way?
Right.
And no, I agree with you 100%. Now, what I also find, and there are two things, so before I forget, are the solutions that Hexagon are beginning to bolt up against to their EAM platform. So we're going to talk about that. But the other one is, I think that given the churn, given the realities of the human equation where people are coming and going and doing whatever, the more companies can, and I hate to, for lack of a better, automate the collection of the data and the details of that data and the sort of the tactical results of that data, then you're less likely to say, oh my gosh, there goes Joe. Joe's out the door. What are we going to do? Take 20 steps backwards in no, you have some level of consistency and baseline to be able to say, okay, here comes Stephan. He's replacing Joe, and so on and so forth. And here, look at this stuff. Oh, great. It would seem to me that resiliency for businesses is a must too as well.
Oh, 100%, without question. Tribal knowledge. So we usually term that tribal knowledge. I think companies today, when you talk about folks that have tribal knowledge and they start to see automation. Look, I'm a rip the bandage off type of guy. Yeah, they see fear, right? Because information is power, right? Knowledge is power. But I think one of the things that organizations can do is they can recognize the equity in tribal knowledge, and they can use that as a framework to build out the data information set that they're looking for. Really, really value that tribal knowledge, right? Really work with those people to let them understand there is a level of importance and they would be a valuable input to creating the framework that the organization's going to need, right? And recognize that one day they'll win the lottery or whatever grateful thing of letting them go on to their next journey or their next, part of their journey in their life isn't going to strand anybody else. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I would say to decision makers is recognize that you have tribal knowledge, recognize the equity that's in it, and leverage that to create your framework.
Yeah, there you go.
I was just going to add to that a little bit.
Yeah,
but some of the talking about the data collection part, there's so many things that with the real-time data collection that you can actually, determine that you can't with people writing down like readings every 15 minutes or something like that. You know what I mean? So when at Weston, one time we had we were having trouble with some of the equipment and we couldn't determine what it was. But when we connected to the historian, we found out that it was skipping every 13 seconds or something. And you couldn't see it visually.
Right.
You couldn't see it visually, but you could see in the data that there was a skip.
Yeah.
And that skip was caused then by further analysis to determine what it was caused by and correct it. But what a lot of times people will do is they'll just record a reading every so often manually or something, and all that data that's on paper ends up under somebody's desk and never used again. Where these systems really capture the information that you can use it.
I've seen that.
The paper doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, and there are a lot of organizations that still do that. I think from my perspective, and we all talk about IIoT and all that, fine. It's just getting a device out on that asset is a real, plus. Now, there's some conversations that are wrapped around the cyber component because they're all connected, and that's fine. That's fine. That's all, fixable. But the reality is that I've been in organizations where you have these tools, these diagnostic tools sitting in cubicles. And that's where they sit, doing nothing. And that, asset is spinning and having a grand old time. And you're not getting that information. That, from my perspective, is the plus of all of these devices. Because now it's like, okay, I got you. Just keep them there, but we can definitely analyze these assets in a very effective way.
Yeah, and that adds to that predictive factor.
Yep.
Because you don't want to wait till something fails in order to make the correction.
Absolutely.
If you know that every 15,000 cycles this piece of equipment is going to fail because of the bearing, at 14,000 cycles you change the bearing.
Well, of course. You sweat the asset, and then it's a positive impact to the bottom line just because you're not doing the planned maintenance all the you're doing it you're doing it smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a word continues to go out there.
Yeah.
Stephan, real quick on all of the products that are available at Hexagon, because one of the things that I sort of went, wow, that's pretty amazing. You've got your EAM, and we all understand the EAM. We all understand what's going on there. That's all good. Right?
Shout out to that entire group.
It's fantastic. But now, with it being a part of the Hexagon family, you're able to access the digital twins. You're able to access a lot of other solutions that just adds to the richness of that asset management.
Yeah.
You're finding that?
Yeah, well, I guess just to go back to what we're currently doing. Currently, we're actually a Hexagon and an Infor partner. So, and we handle. We do. So we do EAM. We also Infor LN ERP systems. We do the burst reporting analytic tool. So we already have other things that we do, and we're very much in the conversation with Hexagon about adding different things like Ecosis and some other things that they have, because there is a real understanding how all this will fit together at some point. So we're very excited.
Oh yeah, yes, there's going to be a way of fitting that all together. All right, as we close, Stephan, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, we're on the internet.
The World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web.
Oh my God.
Elevotec.com, and we're out of Burlington, Canada, and you'll find the information on the site.
And you too, Joe? You can. That's the avenue. Are you guys out on LinkedIn?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm going to put that backlink in my website.
Yeah, absolutely. Connect with us on LinkedIn. We're on the website. You can contact us through Hexagon and Infor, great partners. And we'd love to help you with any part of the solution that you're looking for. At the end of the day, if there's a synergy, if there's an opportunity that we can share and you get some success and start to develop closer to the sustainment that you're looking for, we want to be part of it and help you along the way.
Okay. Like, you guys have had this conversation. All right, that's Joe and Stephan. You need to reach out to them. We're going to have all the contact information for them out on Industrial Talk, so fear not, reach out to them at a minimum on LinkedIn and get some more information. The spelling of their company is Elevotec, Elevotec. All right. Again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk. We're going to wrap it up on the other side, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right. That was Joe and Stephan. Hexagon Live. We were on site. Let's just put it this way. For 2024, put that on your calendar. Make that a point. It was just I don't know. It just had innovation everywhere. And the individuals there were just so focused on having a conversation around solving problems. And what I see is and it's exciting, don't get me wrong, it's truly exciting, is that they're taking the technology and being able to bring in more functionality, more solutions, so that there's this power in this platform that helps you succeed. I mean, there's just stuff coming out, and I still think, personally, we're at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that's going to happen. You need to find trusted individuals. Joe and Stephan fall into that category. Be bold, be brave. Dare greatly. Put that on your calendar, that Hexagon Live. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.